Well, you sure know it's cold when your lip balm is frozen. Good morning, coming to you from -14 real feel, Vermont today. Looks like my camera angle has gotten a little bit skewed. I'm going to go in, make a little turn with it. Hello, hello, hello. If you could let me know that audio and video are doing what they should be doing, that would be great. I'll switch my mat up a little bit too. My name is Karen, coming to you from Salt and Sand Studios. Great to have you here with me today. Today our focus is on chair pose. Cherry baby. That's where we're going to head. I'm going to keep my socks on to start today because it is that chilly. We're going to go ahead and find a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you today. Maybe your back is against the wall, literally, not figuratively. And we are going to go ahead and let the spine get long. Bring the hands wherever it feels comfortable. I'm going to work on a little mindfulness, becoming alert or aware of the breath. Let's just start with 3 breaths. We're going to do cleansing breaths first. Inhale. Open the mouth, release. Breathe in again, really deeply. And let it go. And one more time. Sloughing off the whole week. Now the jaw closes, but not tightly. Your eyes can be closed. Mine are closed. You could also downcast them sort of about 4 or 5 feet in front of you and downcast. And now we're just going to notice the breath without changing it. It's a natural breath, and it's kind of weird. It's as if you are paying attention to it, changes it in and of itself, because it kind of does. See what you see. Observe what you observe. Maybe it's the in and out feeling. Maybe there's a little bit of air that touches the back of your throat. Maybe you feel the rise and the fall of the belly. Maybe you feel something else, or maybe a scent or odor becomes more noticeable to you. So 3 breaths. And now 3 more. See if you notice something different. Now both hands on your belly. See what you feel. Rise and fall, up and down. One hand on your heart area. Now hands wherever feels comfortable. We're going to take 3 more cleansing breaths, or 3 cleansing more breaths. Inhale super generously. Open up, let it go. Another breath in. Release. This time we're going to hold the breath at the top just a little bit. Maybe sip in a little bit more air when you get there. And let it go. Release the hands into the lap. Flutter the eyes open for a moment and consider here what brought you to your mat. Maybe there's a motivation. Maybe there's a New Year resolution. Maybe there's an intention. Or maybe you just woke up and thought, I'm going to practice today. Or maybe you just had dinner if you're listening to and watching the recording and thought, I'm going to go ahead and practice before I go to sleep. Consider that just for a moment and breathe in and out of 3 breaths. I'll drop the hands by your sides, palms face up. Shrug the shoulders up to the ears, breath in. Press the shoulders in behind, then release and breath out. Shoulders forward and up. Behind and release. One more time. Lift the arms out to the sides. Tuck your chin a teeny tiny bit. I just noticed mine was lifted. Spread the fingers. Reach from the center of the chest, the space between the shoulder blades. Activate your triceps, activate your belly. Draw the navel up and tailbone down. Slowly rotate the palms upward. Feel what the shoulders are. Then lift the arms overhead. Let there be a V shape that they create. Loosen the shoulders. Big breath in. Exhale, palms together at your heart. I appreciate starting practice to the sound of Om, something that sort of creates opportunities to surround ourselves with our intention. So it's as if your intention or your motivation is coming out on your breath. Therefore, if you decide not to chant, if that's not your thing, or you're not in a space where you feel comfortable doing that, you can imagine your intention just working out on the out breath, riding the breath out the mouth. Huge breath in through the nose. And while we will practice variations and modifications and traditional chair pose, we are going to work some warm up and a little bit of flow. Poses will be throughout. So will chair. Drop your hands to your lap. Drop your chin to your chest. Start to feel a lengthening of the neck. Purposeful, as a kind of lengthening we get from slouching or turtling forward. Move the chin left and right, so sort of like a pendulum swinging. And then the next time the chin drops to the chest, lift it parallel to the earth. We're going to take a little peek over one shoulder. It doesn't matter which way. You're going to take a nice slow turn of the neck. Bring the chin as far as it will go, not forcing it. And then we take a deep breath in. On the breath out, maybe we turn the head a little bit more so that when we inhale again, we really lengthen the spine all the way up into the neck and the head. And use the space we created amongst the vertebrae to turn the head a little bit more. Now, if you can, you're going to take your eyeballs and send them even farther toward the direction you've turned your head. Like you're trying to create more peripheral vision. And then send them the opposite direction, which would be forward. Or sort of toward your camera, and then back. All the way. And then center. Head turns back to center. Exhale, turn it the other way. Pausing to take a breath, you might notice that this side is a little tighter, a little looser. As you breathe in, lengthen the spine. As you breathe out, maybe you get a little tiny micro turn. We take one more full breath in and out, paying attention to length and then turning. And now the eyes follow as far in the direction that you turned your head as possible. Working way over like you're trying to look toward your ear. And then they go the other direction. I'm looking toward my camera. Now they come above the nose. They come. And the nose turns front. Beautiful. We're going to offer a little offering. So palms forward and down. And imagine your intention is in your hands. We're going to lift that up as if we're bringing it up through the body and offering it up into the sun. It does exist. Now we're going to face it downward as if it's going to flood the body top to bottom in a nice way. More like a river than a flood. We're going to work the hands in front of us, walk them forward, get a nice long spine. Chin is still a little bit tucked. Breathe in. Draw the belly in and the tailbone down. Exhale, walk the hands forward a little bit more. Another inhale. And then as we walk forward, maybe the head drops. Just finding a little length and power in the spine. We're not ignoring the belly, but the head is like a giant bowling ball just hanging there. If you have low back issues, you're going to exhale to sit up. Otherwise, you're welcome to inhale. And bring the hands all the way behind you. Shift onto your sacrum and switch the cross of your legs. Switch. I was going to say swap. So it sort of came out swap. And the arms come back in front. Walk the hands forward. Pause, breath in. Belly in, back extended, breath out. Reach forward again. One more round. And then drop your head. Breath out or in, returning back to your seat. I'm going to remove my socks because socks make for slippery movements on the mat. Wearing my Totoro socks today. Don't know if you can see them from there, but the heel has my neighbor Totoro on them. Love them. We're going to work into, let's move into child's pose. Let's meet there. Knees wide. Front body is facing downward. Big toes touched. The sitting bones and glutes are working their way toward your heels. Arms are long in front if they can be, and the forehead is on something. So if it resists coming to the mat, you might place something underneath it. You could always bend your elbows and stack your hands under your forehead if that is the most comfortable thing. But if that takes place, double check that you're not arching your back, but rather, or, not finding a back bend, but rather finding a nice rounded, long spine. And for chair pose, ultimately, if we take the traditional posture for Utkatasana, the arms are overhead, which means the chest and the shoulders are opening. It can be helpful to open those up to start with. And this posture helps in that way, especially if we take some movement with it. But first, we're just going to go ahead and come onto the fingertips, lifting the wrists and the forearms off the mat. Now we're going to imagine that the armpits are actually stretching, and we're working from the folded part of the hips all the way to the fingertips. On a breath out, walk your hands to one side. It doesn't matter which side you take any side. Maybe the hands come all the way off the mat, but not so much so that we are lifting the opposite cheek, lower cheek off the heel. So I'm reaching over to the left, so my right sitting bone is sending its energy toward my right heel. Inhale, come through the center, and as you exhale, the hands crawl to the other side. A breath in moves you through to center. The forehead returns to a resting place. And thumbs draw together so the pinkies are on the earth. We're going to work the shoulders and chest a little bit more by bending the elbows to bring the fingers to the back of the neck or maybe between the shoulder blades. And then one at a time, walk the elbows forward till they can't walk forward no more. Feel what's working in the side bodies, in the shoulders, under the arms. Relax the chest. Palms come to the earth. One of the other things, we're going to come to sitting on our heels and we're going to bring the knees together. One of the other things that chair is good for, well, why don't I go through many of them? As I mentioned, an opening of the shoulders and chest, making space for your breath, strengthening the ankles, strengthening the feet, strengthening the thighs, especially the quads, strengthening the core, and strengthening the spine. That's a lot of strengthening, and that's pretty fun and cool for that to happen. So we're kneeling here, and depending on how your quads feel in terms of looseness or tightness, you might find a hero's pose where the knees draw together and the feet come apart. And then I will not take the full hero's posture, which is coming down first onto your forearms behind you and then all the way onto your back. You might not be open enough for that, especially on a morning as cold as it is in New England today, but really starting to work a little bit of opening in the thighs. So we're going to come forward into a tabletop. Find some cat and cow shapes. Taking your time, inhale, belly drops, gaze and hips lift. Exhale, round the spine, scoop the belly and drop your head. And then come into a neutral spine. So your navel's drawing toward your spine. I had to move my hands a little bit because my wrists were not directly underneath my shoulders. We're just going to go ahead and stretch out the calves and the soles of the feet. First, by pressing the left leg behind us. So the ball of the foot is on the earth and the heels reach back, or if you have two heels on that leg. The left heel reaches back and forward as we find a little bit of opening and movement front and back. Widening the toes. Maybe squeeze the glutes and the hamstrings a little bit. And then we pause with the shoulders over the wrists. Strengthen the belly a little bit. Square your hips and float the left leg off the earth. Just going to work on strength and length here. Reaching the right arm in front of you. Sorry if I hit my microphone. The arm, maybe the bicep is by the ear. You might find a little wiggle wobble here or weeble wobble, but if you fall down, you get back up again. Belly helps a lot. Knee and elbow toward one another. Inhale, extend. And then the left leg out to the left, the right arm out to the right. Not that easy. They extend front and back again, knee to elbow. Inhale, get long. The hand returns to the mat. We keep the foot lifted. It's squeeze, squeeze, squeeze that leg nice and long. Draw the knee to the nose once again. Inhale, extend. Then the knee comes above the left elbow. It might not touch, but maybe it does. Inhale, extend. Knee to nose. We're warming up our large muscles. Inhale, lengthen out. Knee crosses the body. Maybe it comes toward the left forearm or the left wrist or the left elbow. Inhale, extend behind. Knee to nose one more time. And then we drop the knee. The body might ask for things like hip circles here. Go ahead and take those. Or maybe it's a movement left to right, like the letter C, or maybe there's some other motion that we come back to this idea of mindfulness, awareness, alertness. Take all of that to the other side. Right leg reaches behind, ball the foot on the mat. Widen your toes. Rock forward and backward. And then using the glutes and the belly as the shoulders are over the wrists, we're going to float the heel off the mat. Reaching, reaching, reaching. Left arm in front. Knee to elbow. Inhale, extend. Left arm to the left, right leg to the right. Use the belly a lot. Draw front and back again. Left hand to the earth, knee to nose. A breath in makes you long. A breath out, knee above the right elbow. Extend on the breath in. Knee to nose. Inhale, get long. Knee crosses the body on the breath out toward the left elbow. Might not make it. A breath in, long. And one more time, knee to nose. Breathe in, extend. Drop the right knee and find any shushing around. It's ski season, so why not shush, or cats and cows, or hip circles, or the like. Pause for a long spine. Walk your hands forward just a couple of inches. Widen the fingers like you're opening up a pickle jar. Tuck your toes under and lift your hips down, dog. You might want to pedal into your feet and ankles and knees. Start feeling out this dog. What does downward dog mean to this body in this moment today? Big, huge breath in and out. Rise up to your tippy toes and walk all the way to the front of your mat. Head hangs heavy. Thought I heard someone knocking at the door. That's why I was checking my watch. I know that sounds like a weird thing. A little sway left and right. Now, if we wanted to, and later we will, we could come into chair pose from here, but we're going to take our sun salutation A couple of times. Half lift, hands to the shins. Long, flat spine, belly in and up. Open up the collarbones, exhale, forward fold. Float to standing, pausing in mountain pose on your way up, hands by your sides. Arms lift overhead. Ooh, open things up, stretch, get tall. Exhale, hands to your heart. Drop your hands, mountain pose. We're going to remember this pose because the first time we come into chair will be from mountain pose. Keeping the feet, bony hips width distance, parallel to the outer edge of your mat, the palms face forward. Imagine you are a mountain. Depending on your location, your mountain may be snow-topped or tree-topped or verdant. Rock a little around left and right, forward and backward, all four corners of the feet. Lift the toes off the mat, spread them wide. And starting with the pinky toes, bring them back down one at a time. Inhale, sweep your arms high. Take a hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Give a little tug. Tall, tall, tall. Tuck your tailbone. Exhale, tilt over to the right. We're opening the heart toward the sky. Maybe we are still the mountain, and we're taking our mountain top and lifting it toward the sun, asking the sun to share its heat and light, and sharing our own power, our own stability with the sun. Inhale, release the fingers to the sky. Opposite grasp, a little tug of the right wrist before we tilt over to the left. Inhale, both arms high. We're going to go ahead and draw the hands behind us, maybe interlace the fingers or maybe curl and cup them. We're not moving into chair yet, so hang on. If you've locked your knees, go ahead and loosen them a little bit and draw the knuckles downward. Collarbones get really wide. And the belly, if it just kind of drops forward and down, you're going to gather it in and up. You're going to feel. The real deal, opening up the shoulders and the heart. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And now we're going to bend the knees slowly to take a fold over the legs. Our bound Uttanasana. Head shakes. Maybe neck rolls a little bit. Maybe we move inside and outside the shoulders. The hands release to the earth for another half lift. Full sun salutation A, forward fold. Float all the way to standing, arms lift high overhead. Exhale, soften your knees, fold over your legs. We'll take that again, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana, long flat spine, open collarbones. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to standing, arms lift high. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. This time we're going to come into a high plank where we will pause. It's almost like mountain pose in a way because we're being strong and connected to the earth. We're feeling the power of the earth, lifting the palms of the hands, lifting the heels, lifting the belly. Breath in. Exhale, halfway down, pause. Breath out, press up, high plank, right to down dog, hips lift. Left leg floats high, and we find a little wiggle, maybe knee wiggle, maybe hip wiggle, maybe tuna pea wiggle, maybe ankle wiggle, maybe toes wiggle. Draw your knee to your nose, take your time, shoulders over the wrists. Inhale, extend the leg. And exhale, the foot returns to the mat. Inhale, right leg lifts. Nice and flowy, finding whatever circly things you did before. Wiggly things, knee to nose, extend, back to the mat. This time, rise to the tiptoes and bring your forward fold to the back of the mat. So the hands walk back toward the feet. Drop your head, heels to the earth, maybe a bind. Hands release, half lift, forward fold. Rise all the way to mountain pose. While you are there, I'm going to remove an outer layer. Clearly warm enough now. In mountain, maybe a little shrugging up of the shoulders and a release of them down your back. Arms rise overhead. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Samastiti. Close your eyes. Shift the weight left and right. Starting to feel balance. And then pause for stillness. Very gently. We're going to walk toe to heel. You don't have to walk in a straight line. But dropping your toes in front, then your heels all the way to the front of your mat. Feeling all the feels of something different. Bare feet, maybe the mat is cold. A change in how we walk. Mountain pose once again. And here, we're going to find our way into a modified chair. Now, the traditional modern way of chair is for the big toes to touch with the heels slightly apart. That is not requisite. And if you do decide to do that, we'll do it after this version. So we're going to keep the feet parallel to the outer edges of the mat. Bring the hands to the hips and then take your fingertips and shove them into the hip crease. And press that back as you bring the tailbone down, bending your knees. Now, what tends to happen is we shift forward into the balls of the feet, and especially for skiers, that's a natural place to be. I'm going to shift the weight into the heels. I'm going to drop a little bit lower. Imagine you have a block between your knees, or maybe you place a block between your knees. So you can feel the power up of the thighs. Believe it or not, this also helps the arches of your feet. Imagine that the energy from the earth is being lifted by the arches of your feet. And if your belly's just hanging around and not helping, sink a little bit lower and see if you can draw the navel toward the spine and keep the tailbone long. So rather than sticking the booty out for chair pose, we want to tuck it down a little bit. So now we're getting all of the strengthening of the feet, the ankles, the calves, the thighs, the spine, if we're using the belly to tuck the tailbone. And now we can decide what to do with the arms. I like to start with the arms out in front, the palms parallel to one another, and then the arms lock back into the shoulder sockets. This can be enough for a lot of us. And rather than hunching forward, we continue to draw those shoulder blades together so that it's like they're being knitted together behind you. But if you like, you have more to work with, the arm lift overhead with the biceps by the ears. For some, this feels a little squinchy. So you might find something like a cactus shape really start to open up in the collarbones, the chest, and the shoulders as you knit the shoulder blades together behind you. Now, if you're starting to feel this in your thighs, I'm feeling it a little bit. We're going to lift onto the balls of the feet. Stay here for a moment with balance. Sink down a little bit more, and then bring the heels back down. I bet that didn't help, feeling it in your thighs. Inhale, rise to standing. Exhale for a forward fold, removing your block or your prop if you have one. Find a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to take the left foot way to the back of the mat for a runner's lunge. As I said, we're doing a little bit of flow work here. Keep the left hand down. Float the right arm higher. Bring the heel of the right hand to your low back. We're taking a twist with our runner's lunge. Reach that left heel behind. Hard forward breath in. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Drop your back knee to the earth. If your right hand is not on your low back, place it there. And slowly lift up with the left arm high, modified Anjanayasana. Drawing your hips as square as possible. The heel of the front foot in the earth and the shoelace side of the back foot into the earth. And we're using the right hand to press the tailbone down to remind us to squeeze our right glutes. Squeeze our left glutes. We're going to take a twist, left hand to the right hip. Shoulder blades working toward each other a little bit. Shoulders working to be parallel so that the chest faces as much to the right as possible. Don't forget to press the big toe mound of the right foot into the earth. Hands will frame our front foot for a half split. Nice long spine, especially if the heart is not coming very close to the shins. Just remember that that's okay. If you're getting benefit from the pose, there's no need to force it. For pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana, the sole of the right foot comes to the earth. Hands might sneak forward. Back toes tuck. Lift both hips off the mat. Work to square your hips. I need a wider stance than some might on Parsvo to extend your front leg and bring the left foot up to about a warrior one stance, maybe a little bit shorter. You're going to use your right hip to peel back the right thigh as if the thigh is spinning outward and making sure that the back heel is fully on the mat. If you need blocks here, take blocks. Head heavy. Back foot steps up to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Keeping your feet a little apart, you're going to sink the bottom down as if you're going to sit behind your heels. And here now we're going to take chair from a different way. We're going to rise up using the belly. Bring the arms out in front. The shoulders more over the hips than over the knees. And take a peek down. If you can see a lot of your feet, you're probably not sinking down enough. If you can see none of your toes, you're probably sinking forward or leaning forward or shifting your weight forward too much. Maybe the arms float overhead again. Maybe a cactus-shaped arms. Maybe you like eagle arms, finding a little opening across the upper back. If you take eagle arms as I am doing now, you might play a little with balance, lifting the heels up, sinking deeper, drawing the heels back down, making sure the belly's working, and then taking your eagle arms in the opposite direction, meaning opposite arm underneath. Bring your hands by your sides. Rise up, mountain pose. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Rise up to standing, arms float overhead. Chair pose, Utkatasana. If you desire, now is a good time to bring the big toes together and the heels slightly apart, but it's not required. Don't forget the belly, in and up. Tailbone long, so rather than sticking the booty out, draw it down. Imagining there's a block or a roll of toilet paper between your knees. Gosh, that stuff's like gold. Going to rise back up to the balls of the feet, sink back down. Pause here. Strengthen, 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 lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Heels down. Now start to feel the power of space amongst all of the ribs. I'm going to take cactus for that because I can feel it a little bit better. As if you have the ribs of a boat on your body and all the way around. You're creating space like the air moving into an accordion or a bagpipe. Inhale, rise to standing. Exhale, forward fold. Your halfway lift. Breathe out, hands plant, right foot glides way to the back of the mat. Take your time. You might adjust if need be. No need to have the judges hold up a 10 or a 9 or even a 6 as you move into a posture, because you won't get there perfectly because you don't have the same body today that you had yesterday. Right fingertips down, heel of the left hand on your low back. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale for your twist. You can also lift your left arm to the sky. The back knee gently and slowly drops to the mat for our modified Anjanayasana. Right arm high, left hand at your low back to remind you to tuck the tailbone. You're going to squeeze the right glutes and hamstrings this time. This dance always makes me think about Russian dances. I have no clue about Russian dances. I don't know any history there, but for some reason, something like this, snapping your fingers, comes to mind. We're lifting from the heart, pressing energy into the heel of the front foot and the top of the left, and then we find a twist with the right hand coming to the right hip. If you feel weeble wobbly, you can move that left foot up to the left. But also don't forget to use the big toe mound of that left foot. Its heel as well, not the heel of your toe, the heel of your foot, and the top, the shoelace side of the back foot. We're going to come back around to find our half split. Taking our time, I'm going to use my hands to bring my left foot forward. Find a long spine. Send the heart forward as if it could go past the front of the mat. Yes, believe it or not, this is a practice, Sons, Warriors. With our focus on chair pose, we're spending a bit more time there. and finding other ways to ensure the opening of the body and the movement of the spine in all 6 directions. We're bringing the left foot back to the mat, letting the hands move forward to find our way to pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Take your time finding the stance left to right and back to front. And the back foot is similar to a warrior 1 pose, but maybe the foot is not as far away from the front as in warrior 1. Press that left hip behind you. Draw the front of the right hip. Imagine it's sort of smiling at the earth. Left thigh spins outward. Both legs strong, head drops. Nod your head and shake your head. That might help a bit. And use all the edges of both of your feet. Last sequence for chair pose. Back foot steps up to meet the front. We're going to sink our bottom down just for a moment. Maybe wrap your arms around your shins or your knees and drop your head. Release the hands, float to standing. Arms sweep high. Take any armed shape, any armchair. We're going to have an armchair. How about that? We're going to find the arms of our chair, however we would like them to be. I'm going to go with my hands behind me and draw the knuckles of the hands downward. Those are the arms of my chair. And I'm going to find the body of the chair. In this chair pose, the arms of the chair help to really open up the shoulders and the chest. I have to work a little bit more at identifying how I expand the ribs here because my hands are closer together than my shoulders. Belly strong. We're going to shift onto one foot and lift the opposite knee to the chest. Finding strength. Don't forget the bend in the standing leg. We'll drop the floating leg. Take that shift to the other side. See which leg is stronger. My right one. Floating foot drops. Stay in chair. Rise up to the balls of the feet. Sink deeper. Now there is, in super historical yoga goes way back, a chair squat. I'm thinking we rise to standing, bring the feet nice and wide, maybe wider than the mat. Point your toes outward. Bring your hands to your heart and find squat, not necessarily a chair squat, but prayer squat, which rhymes. My heels want to come off the mat, which means my hips are not quite open, or maybe my Achilles, maybe my ankles are a little tight. Widen your feet, drop the bum down. I do not recommend that you use a block underneath you, but you can always place your fingertips on the mat. And if a block is absolutely necessary, you are welcome to use it. It is your practice. Long spine. Hands come to the mat. We find our way to a seat. Take your time. I'm going to take a little sip of my tea. I'm also going to put my socks on because it's pretty darn cold in here. We're going to make our way all the way onto the back from the seat. And you're welcome to do that using your core, finding a straight back or finding a rounded back or finding another way all the way onto your back so that we can take supine pigeon before moving into a twist and then our final posture. So I'll meet you on the ground. We're going to start with both knees bent on the ground. Right ankle comes above the left knee. Left knee comes in toward the heart. Activate both of your feet. Bring your left shin as parallel to the earth as you can. And maybe the right arm threads inside the legs and the hands meet behind the left thigh. You're using your hands to help draw the left thigh in and your right elbow to press the right knee away. Shoulder blades aim for the earth, so if they're kind of wrapped upward toward each other or scrunched up by your ears, see if you can breathe out and relax. And for the twist, careful cueing here. Keep your legs the same shape as they are with your right ankle above your left knee. Drop your left foot to the ground. So your ankle is still crossing above the right knee. Hands come to the mat, shift your hips over to the right, and then tilt the left knee to the left until your right foot comes to the earth. And if you landed in a shape that doesn't look like what I have, you landed in a shape that doesn't look what I have. If it feels okay and it doesn't hurt and you feel like you're getting a twist, let it happen. Arms flop outward, gaze moves over to the right. Let me breathe here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let me take all those shenanigans to the other side. I recommend bringing your palms to the earth, scooting the left foot back to the earth so the knee points toward the sky, and then shifting your hips center. Unravel, right foot on the earth, left ankle crosses above it, supine pigeon, right knee draws in toward your right shoulder, left arm might sneak inside in between the legs. Right hand meets the left hand behind your right shin. Feet are active. Shoulders melt downward behind you. Right foot plants. Keep the same shape of your legs. Shift your hips to the left. Drop your right knee to the right, and the left foot should follow. And find a little bit of purchase on the earth. Arms flop outward in a T, the gaze is over the left shoulder. 3, 2, 'Scooching that right foot back to the earth. Keep the same shape of your legs. Shift your hips to the center and then unwind the left leg. Maybe a little swaying left and right of the knees like windshield wipers. Feet could be wide for that. I don't know why my hands are in the air, but if you like to put your hands in the air, do it. And finally, whatever calls to you, a Supine, knees hugged in, happy baby. Wherever you go, take 2 to 3 breaths. And meet together in the final resting posture for Shavasana. In the traditional posture, corpse pose, legs long, tea spilled onto the ground. Legs long on the earth, feet separate, palms facing upward. Big breath in. And it releases. And return here to your intention or your motivation, or maybe there's something else that you noticed during your practice you'd like to take off the mat with you, some behavior or attitude or little thought or pause, let that deepen the breath. We'll take a full body pencil stretch, toes forward, hands overhead, maybe the thumbs hook. Reach, breathe in. As you exhale, roll onto one side, maybe knees bend to make that happen first, or maybe the knees bend after. Eyes closed, head heavy, press yourself to a comfortable seat. And here we'll close our practice as we began it with the sound of Om. If you'd like to join in, bring the palms together as if they have found your heart to be their home. Eyes can close. Exhale all the air from your lungs. Long breath in. Thumb knuckles connect with the center forehead. May your practice bring you strength, not just of the body, but of the heart and mind. Namaste. With a big cheer out to each and every one of you. If you are in hot weather, may it be bearable. If you are in cold weather, may it warm up appropriately. If you are in rain or snow, we thank life and nature for all of that. I hope you have a great day, evening, morning, week, wherever you are. My name is Karen. If you have a chance to donate and have the funds for that, please go to our website. You'll find a donation button on our yoga page. And if you can't, we're here for you too. Have a good one.